to Fox News. There's an article that came out about millennials being burnt out on working. I work with a lot of different millennials in a lot of different industries. They work hard and they get after it. They're super successful. And millennials in the military have been doing a great job. So to think that society's gotten harder now on people, I don't really buy into that. Life's hard. If you want to be successful, you're going to have to work hard. It's not just going to show up. You're going to have to dig. You have to wake up early and stay up late. It's the way it works. You got to be willing to do things that your enemy is not willing to do, that your competitor is not willing to do.
Greetings, friends. Jocko Willink is a former U.S. Navy SEAL who got into social media some years ago, not that long ago, maybe 5 years ago, and has since risen to about 640,000 subscribers on his YouTube channel, the Jocko Podcast, where they ostensibly discuss discipline and leadership. He and his sidekick, Echo Charles, they sometimes take questions from people who follow the podcast. Jocko talks at length, but it's very vague, and he draws a lot on his experience in the Navy SEALs to illustrate concepts that he's talking about. But because he was a Navy SEAL, he can't really talk about much details. So you're in this weird situation where you're frequently reflecting and extrapolating from your successful experience in the Navy SEALs, like he rose up to a leadership position from what they say. But at the same time, you can't really say much. You can't say, and then I had to put the gun to the guy's head and pull the trigger and we moved on, and so couldn't keep up, and so I had to take care of business and make sure that he was not going to let us down, because in a combat situation, sometimes you have to do fucked up things. And like, obviously Navy SEALs deserve a lot of respect because they do some of the most dangerous things in the armed forces. They do some of the biggest tasks, capturing enemy militants or taking out security forces, top secret missions. They have to be diving, and they have to be at a level of fitness that the average person could not come anywhere close to. Not even in the regular armed forces, you couldn't come close to their level. So having said all that, obviously they deserve respect, but the other side of the coin is there are some of them that are pretty fucked up, and it's kind of a fucked up line of work. I mean, your chance of killing an enemy is probably going to be higher if you join the special forces. Some people get a rush out of that. I'm not saying that Jocko did or that all of them did. I'm just saying in the past, we would have celebrated and as a role model to elevate the Navy SEALs. Now, what does that say about our culture? Because in the past, it would have been Clint Eastwood or John Wayne, or even when it comes to the real military, then your standard soldier who fought in World War II, or even a Marine, something like that. But that's all well and good, but because that's tied up in the narrative of for your country, and like that's a thing that Jocko, when it comes to the Navy SEALs, it's like they're also supposed to be for the country, but you're getting into the territory of these are now specialized dudes. They're not exactly your average guy. Like, to put up with what they put up with and do what they do. I mean, some of them are going to be kind of fucked up. And I mean, look at Jocko. Like, the guy must be in his 50s. Actually, he's 48. Does his body look natural to you? Obviously, he could beat me up. He could crush me like a pulp, but is the guy on steroids? Maybe. It doesn't look like a natural, healthy body to me. I don't know if he does other stuff. I'm just wondering. I could be wrong. I wonder if they do energy drinks. I wonder if they do other stimulants or other supplements that give them a boost.
That's a good one right there. Good evening. Good evening. Rehearsing my lines. You alright? Good evening. Good evening. Got it. I'm ready.
Origin is some company he keeps mentioning. Top of the search results, Origin USA handcrafted in America without compromise. Jocko Willink, partner in Origin, author of the book Extreme Ownership, and co-founder of Echelon Front, where he is a leadership instructor, speaker, and executive coach. He's a partner in this company, Origin. Here's their website. Made in America without compromise. Nutrition, durable goods. Okay, so a bunch of apparel, sports apparel. So here they offer denim jeans, hoodies, boots, maple syrup from Maine. Yeah, the same t-shirts, underwear. If it's made in America, that's good. I wonder if they make it all in America. If they do, then I'll give them credit for that. But then they're in on the supplements thing. So there's the energy drink, Jocko Discipline Go, a physical and cognitive force multiplier. This is something I found interesting. Deep sleep starts here. Sleep faster. Zeus test. They had another thing, Greek fire. That was a fat burner. Hypno sleep. It's supposed to mitigate the main culprits of a bad night's rest, but it's also supposed to help you fall asleep faster and offer a more restful sleep. So dive right into this lifestyle, like give it your all, like go all out. And then when you feel you're so exhausted, we've got the product to help you. You drink Jocko Go. You work out at the gym, you do whatever you have to do. You're doing all your stuff, and then at night you drink Hypno Sleep. So I may have been wrong. Jocko may just be partially for the military, but he may really have been contacted by someone in this company. He probably got contacted to be the publicity person.
If you get a little bit behind and you need to get caught up, hit the turbo button, go hard for 3 or 4 days, get yourself where you need to be. It's more than people want to get the jeans, because the jeans are going to be, I'm aware of, they're the best jeans you're going to be able to buy. I think people also want to be a part of what we're doing. It's the people that are supporting Origin, the people that are supporting the podcast, the people that are supporting the supplements, the people that are supporting us. They're part of us. There's something so much deeper that's going on.
Jocko is manufactured to put out a message which is going to attract new recruits from the military, and more broadly, he's useful for the government and for big corporations to spread this gospel to millennials and I guess Generation Z now, to join and cooperate with the organization and give it their all, and don't rebel or don't complain about the problems. Suck it up, power through, put on the turbo drive, and get it done. Get your mission accomplished. That's the overt message. The subtle message is, of course, be a good slave, be quiet, play the game, and be fake.
A question for you and the podcast. Our fire department promotion process has role-playing scenarios.
Role-playing scenarios. To me, that sounds extremely annoying.
In those role-playing scenarios, I lose points because I'm not outwardly passionate, quote-unquote, enough. I would have to fake it to succeed, and I'm not a fake person. Is this worth it? To fake it when seeking promotion? It's not like I'm going to fake it once I attain the promotion.
Okay. This is a very cool question. I like this question a lot. And actually, this guy sent me this question on Facebook. I responded very quickly and simply. Mm-hmm. My response was, play the game.
Yeah. So fake it.
Play the game.
Yeah.
And you know what he wrote back? Got it.
Yeah.
So good for him.
And the guy contacting Jocko was saying, I don't feel this at all. It's not really my thing. Play the game. Got it. That could mean anything. It could mean, oh man, I'm disappointed. Okay, I got it. All right, Jock. Thanks, Jock. Or it could mean, got it. The guy's dumb and it went right into his head. Maybe he could be that, because there's a lot of dumb people following Jocko. I mean, if you look at the comments, people are lapping this stuff up, and it's the dumbest stuff. In this case, the guy poses a good question, a question of conscience. He feels that something is really stupid, it's fake, and Jocko is telling him that, well, you got to play the game in life. You got to cooperate and go along with this stuff. And I agree, sometimes you do have to put up with annoying stress in life. It's healthy to have some stress in life and to challenge yourself.
What you're doing when you play the game, you want to do a good job, and you're doing your job. And doing your job, doing any job, requires some level of faking it.
Yeah.
Now, does this mean that you're a fake person? No, it means that you're trying to do a good job. Think if every time that your boss came in with a dumb idea and your reaction was to say, that's a dumb idea.
Yeah.
Being rude or tactless with your boss is not the same thing as being uncomfortable to take part in a dumb situation, something that is against your conscience, because it just feels, being fake is cheapening your soul. You're cheapening your dignity a little bit. So he starts off with a false comparison, and then he just lists a few more examples, but it's all based on this false comparison.
Is that going to get you anywhere? Or every time a customer had an idiotic complaint about something, you were like, hey, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Or every time your wife said, is this chicken dry? And you said it's drier than a piece of cardboard in the Sahara Desert.
Jocko, the guy in the fire department, was not describing that he wanted to say something rude or something that could be perceived as tactless. He was bringing up a gathering of people, of employees in the organization, in a role-playing scenario, which is almost akin to a ritual, to be honest.
I'll tell you what I did to get myself over playing the game. I turned it into a game in my head. I was like, I'm going to build a relationship with this boss that I don't like.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to become this guy's bro, right? When I was at officer candidate school, you got to do the most ridiculous rules. They have these rules that you've got to follow that were really annoying. And you know what I did? I executed the rules harder and more stringently than anybody thought was even remotely necessary. And had fun with it.
So in some sense, Jocko is trying to invert our natural experience of life, of the world. He's trying to say to you, when you feel something, your natural reaction to a situation, to dealing with other people, to dealing with challenges, your natural reaction is wrong. You have to accept the opposite and embrace the opposite. It's a revolutionary, it's a subversive undercurrent here.
The reason you're playing the game, the reason you're acting this way is for benevolent reasons, right? This guy at the fire department, he's not trying to get promoted so that he can usurp the powers and take over. No, he's trying to get into a position where he can better lead and serve and step up and raise young leaders underneath him. That's what you're trying to do. You're not trying to sneak into a position you don't deserve, and you're not trying to build relationships so you can take advantage of people for your own benefit. That would be a fake person.
Jocko goes on and on about this, and sometimes he changes what he's saying a little bit, but it's all so vague that at the end of the day, he can claim to be saying whatever he means to be saying at the time. He can refer back to what he said and say, oh, well, what I meant there was this. I wasn't actually saying that.
So where's the line? What is a fake person genuinely?
Well, I was going to, you asked me what the line is. The line is if you go against what your principles are.
Yeah.
So if you've got fundamental principles that they say, oh, if you want this job, what we need you to do is fill out a report about Billy saying that he did something wrong that he didn't do wrong. Mm-hmm. Right? And you go, no, I'm not going to do that. That's bad, right? Mm-hmm. That's now you're not just playing the game. Now you're going against your principles of being an honest person about what's happening.
As long as you stay true to your principles. It's all about your principles. You can change the boundaries conveniently in life. Oh, well, I had to do that to get the promotion. Even if you are staying true to your principles, it's not really matching the guy's principles. In which case, you could either try explaining to the superiors, this really isn't my thing, but maybe I can do this. Maybe show that you're positive, show that you're creative. Like, why don't I do this instead? I don't like doing the acting thing. It's awkward, getting in front of other people, and you're interacting with other people and they're being fake. But it's also submitting you to the organization. You're showing that you're pliable. And to me, that's not truly masculine. That's questionable. So you could try being positive and maybe they're not having any of it. And you could even not hope for any promotion or at worst, perhaps even be fired. But in which case, if that is the case, hopefully you don't have to be in that position, but your dignity will be intact even if they let you go.
And if you don't play the game at some level, you're not going to get promoted. And guess what? Then people that played the game that might be less qualified to do that job, they're going to get the job because you wouldn't play the game. You're too stubborn. Your ego is too big.
Good for them, Jocko. Let them take those jobs. Let them take those positions. If you're working in a pyramid, if you're working in a ziggurat, if you're working in Washington, D.C., you are participating in a big cult. When you see other cult personnel moving up the hierarchy above you, perhaps you chose to leave, would you be at all perturbed by the fact, oh man, I missed my position to move up in this thing? No, you ought to be happy and relieved that you escaped from something which is evil. He's giving you a bit of a carrot and a stick here as he's trying to persuade you to go against your natural inclinations, accept the system, accept the Borg, assimilate into it.
Sometimes you get overwhelmed. There's just too many things going on and you start to feel like you're getting beat, like you're losing the battle. And when that happens to me, what I like to do is I like to go on the hardcore offense. So I just call it a sprint. I will sprint hard. I'll take the things that I have to get done for work and I will just pile them up and I will work 2 or 3 12, 16, 18-hour days to get caught up. It's a lot better for me to suffer hard for 3 days and grind than to suffer the continual burden that's weighing on your back for months on end. Don't let that happen.
He's taking a Navy SEAL philosophy and then applying it to a broader sphere. And the thing about him is that it's not just these podcasts. He also seems to have some sort of, I guess it's seminars or public speeches, or he addresses people in a large room. And some of these people are dealing with health problems. Like some of them are dealing with cancer or have dealt with cancer.
I have at one point planned my own funeral. When I did last chemo, it was right. I shouldn't be well today, but I am because I knew I had to be here.
And he's giving them motivation. So it's kind of weird. What is going on here? Because a lot of his advice is not good advice for someone you would expect who's had a huge health concern or is trying to deal with a serious illness. Because the things that Jocko has been talking about in his life advice have been things like, he said, when you feel like you're losing the battle, then you go on the hardcore offense. You sprint to the goal. He's talking about pushing himself to the limit and then past the limit. Sometimes you don't need to sleep or barely at all. That's not very healthy. I mean, I understand for like someone in the special forces or an athlete or something. But that's not necessarily healthy for your body long term. It's going to put strain on your liver. It's going to put strain on, different organs in your body. The stress will show over time. You need sleep. That's bad advice telling when someone's feeling down. It's like maybe you need to recover first. But he's, again, talking about being in a battle, but you can't just apply being in a battle to like the population at large. It's like when you're feeling you're losing the battle, you can't wait till this bus gets to the station, or you're on the subway train, or you're caught in traffic on the road. You know what? Time to push yourself to the limit. The motorist rams a car out of traffic and starts driving up the shoulder of the highway. It doesn't matter. You got to push yourself to the limit. Or the man on the subway train, He can't stand the fact that the train is stopped in the tunnel and there's so many people around him. He just starts punching people, like knocking people aside, and then he yanks the subway doors open, and then he just goes walking up the tunnel. He's like, I'm getting to work on time. I gotta push myself to the limit. And then especially cancer survivors or people coping with cancer, it's like, yeah, you gotta fight, you gotta struggle with that. It's like, I understand how dealing with an illness can be conceived of as a struggle, but maybe you shouldn't take that metaphor so far, because that can also work against you. He's been talking about team leadership, and he says, like, when I'm talking about leadership, I get my team to want to do what I want them to do. So when we get a mission done, when we got the task done, it's like, actually, it's like, I got them to do what I wanted them to do. I got the seed in their mind that they wanted to do it. I'm not trying to deceive people. I'm not trying to do it. I mean, would you tell your team that after you got a mission done? He comes up to his buddies, his 6 or 7 other, I don't know, team members after the mission is over, and they're in a good mood. He's like, yeah, James, you got our back with the machine gun. Like, you were right on point. You got it done. It's like, Sanchez, you iced the towel head on the treetop without any problem at all. And you were there because of what we planned, that you'll go out ahead little just to the north and be waiting. And so you got that guy done. And then the rest of us, like, you followed me. You killed the 2 teenagers who were terrorists because we know they had a bomb in there, and they did have a bomb. It's like, you iced them, you didn't ask any questions, and that's because you were doing the right thing, because they could have killed us all. We got to the gas station and we neutralized it in less than 5 minutes. There were no casualties, just Charles got grazed by a bullet. He'll be all right. And everyone's in a good mood, like slapping their backs, like, yeah. And then Jocko's like, you know what, guys? I made you guys want to do all that. Like, I put the seed in your mind. It's like, you did what I made you want to do. If I hadn't been around, like, you wouldn't have wanted to do that. You wouldn't have gotten any of this stuff. Like, I made you do this. And then the guys are all looking at Jocko, and Jocko looks at them. And on the next mission, it's not going to be the same anymore, Jocko. Now, your guys are feeling like, oh, Jocko made us do fucked up. He's fucked. He's fucking with us. This guy's just after his own promotion or whatever. And he let that slip in a moment of, he got a little too cocky there. And he told his own team members that he's manipulating them. And then maybe, who knows what could happen at a good opportune moment. Oh, Jocko, he stepped on a mine and, oh man, he's back there. He's injured. Oh man, they got him. They got Jocko. The enemy got Jocko. That was the official story. I'm just saying this is the sort of stuff that could happen. You know, I'm just making it up, but I'm just trying to say, if you're taking what Jocko is telling you here, even applying that to his own experience, it's like, that's fucked. What do you? That's a terrible team leadership principle. But yeah, I understand on the face of it. It's like Michael Jordan. He supposedly made his whole team better. Everyone wants to play better because you're in the presence of a guy who's leading by example. It's like, yeah, sure, but whoa, that's a different step, saying like, I'm now making you want to do what I want you to do. It's like, whoa, that's kind of manipulative. That's a little skewed and a little distorted. He's talked about it's important to serve the country and be patriotic, but that's as much as he'll say. He uses the word patriotism, serving the country, doesn't seem to understand anything about what that actually means or have any grasp of American history. Like, does he know what was going on in the American Revolution? Like, he might say, sure, like, yeah, we beat the British, but do you know anything more about that? Why did you become a Navy SEAL? The most I've heard him say is that when he was a kid, he was around older folk who were veterans. I'm assuming from the Vietnam War, but they were military veterans, and certain things they said got his mind on the track of, okay, this is what I want to do when I'm an adult. And of course, how does he rise to prominence so quickly? I mean, like, he was on the Joe Rogan podcast 4 or 5 years ago, roughly. So he must have, from the beginning, had some help And if you're on the Joe Rogan podcast, that's not a coincidence. And Joe Rogan and him have some similarity. Like, Jocko Willink is like a dumber, more simple version of Joe Rogan, with more focused on the motivation evangelism, whereas Joe is more intelligent than Jocko and more personable. Although obviously Joe's not overall not that smart, and he's a tool of the establishment too. He's plugging a lot of things into your brain. But they both have a military connection, Jocko more explicitly. Joe Rogan does have a loose connection with the military. And then there's the fitness culture, the gym culture. That's kind of a standard thing you tack on. It always comes back to this sort of lifestyle and like life philosophy. That's where most of it is. It's the same sort of stuff that I call secular motivation evangelism.
Hasta luego, amigos.